Alright, so today's Skywatch is all about ship parts, aerodynamics for people who can't build engines, and calling into question the possibility of making your very own Barbie Dreamhouse ship. Now, I apologize if I sound a little off. I got very sick this last weekend, but either way, let's get straight into it. The first images the devs show off is some immediate comparisons to the engine render they did, which shows scaled images of the size of the character to reference how big the engines will be, which as we can see already looks very detailed, but only gets increasingly cooler from here. So now they do immediately say they ran into a lot of problems. Due to the project constraints and requirements around certain aspects of art production, the team had to design these parts and assets while completely trying to avoid making any form of bespoke asset structures. Bespoke assets are custom-made 3D models that fit exactly to a specifically customized style, meaning you won't be able to modify the part/engine itself in terms of its structural look, the same how Worlds Adrift already function. But what they are saying is that while you will have a ton of control in terms of design of your ship, they're also saying this was widowy the hardest thing ever. But in all seriousness, they put a ton of effort into making the functional design configurations for these engines. Because while it may seem simple enough to just add functions to color every part of an engine's design, they have to think about optimal ways for encoding the impacts of the environment in retrospect to the entity itself, like damage variations as well as how those damage versions look, and how they look mixed in with the rusted asset structures as well. All these different concerns come with many more factors that have to be considered when making these assets, also while trying to not customize every individual configuration to accomplish these changes. But moving on from all that complex stuff, they do show us some awesome videos of how the different glowing color configurations work, and I have to say they're absolutely sick. I mean, you can tell there's an extremely high level of detail in these color components. Now, it does seem to be in these same videos that they show off a mixture of utilizing different materials for different parts, which implies likely similar to Worlds Adrift, that it will have the same resource part control we had before. And to those that may have not played Worlds Adrift, when building a part for your ship, you can choose in some respects what materials you use to make those parts. This is governed by things like the tier quality of that ore as well as the density. So while for example you could make the wall of your ship out of high tier lead, it may be well defended, but because lead is very dense, it will weigh down your ship more, sacrificing speed and fuel consumption as well as other factors in different ways. These functions apply to the parts that make up an engine for a ship as well. But more importantly than all that, we have what seems to be the possible addition of dyes. And while I can't say for certain how the coloring ship functions may work, it is possible that coloring your own ship the way you want may require getting dyes or materials from specific biomes or creatures, but I'm not that ignorant. I know there are some of you out there that wouldn't let some sand wall or continent-sized boss that can insta-kill stop you from making the flying Barbie house of your dreams. So in the end, I'm sure it'll work out fine however they do it. Lastly, they show off a variety of their engine prefab designs they worked on, which do give a good idea of how the different designs may look for different parts and reference. But I think the very last video they show at the bottom gives the best depiction of their efforts into the engine customization, where they show off a wide variety of different engines as well as ones that are the same but used in different color formats. And I think it does a great job at showing the different ways you might be able to customize your ship very nicely, as well as all the intense detail put in designing these newer engine parts. Now, I personally love the advanced design engines which glow red, pink, and blue, but even the wooden ones, they're so intricate, like the little wooden patches on the side and the rust and propeller blades, all of it. It's very well done. But what do you think? Which engines do you like the most, and which system do you think they should use for the customization? And more importantly, whose life do we have to threaten to ensure we're going to be able to turn our precious ships into the hot pink disaster we always wanted? That's all I have for today, and thanks for listening. Peace.